Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP, and I have some things to rant about. Um, yeah, I'm very worried about going into burnout as the days get shorter here, and also as my work starts becoming a pain for me. Um, the ventilation in my bathroom stopped working. It used to just turn on and off whenever. I moved here around a year ago, and they never my landlord said that it had a humidity sensor and that it turns on when the humidity is high. Well, the humidity has, it's not turning on and off according to humidity, it's just turning on and off on its own. And then now when I came back from holiday, basically the thing has always been on, and it really disturbs me. And it probably uses up a lot of electricity, and also I can't sleep. Also, my neighbor has been turning on the TV at 4 a.m. and so right when I manage to fall back to sleep, because I wake up at 3, then that starts turning on. And I think that my neighbor is a little bit deaf, so the TV is very loud, and I can hear everything through the wall. Or they turn on music that is heavy metal and stuff, and it's an old lady, but still, in Sweden, old ladies listen to heavy metal as well. But anyway, then I wrote to my landlord yesterday after having waited, because I do not like. My landlord is very not knowledgeable in all things technical. And it's I'll ask her something and then she'll be completely unhelpful. And then she thinks that she's being extremely helpful and I should be grateful. And it's no, you didn't help me with the washing machines. You did not help me with the light in the ceiling, that kind of thing. So basically, today I was having a meeting with the boss of the doctors at the medicine clinic at the hospital. And then the electrician calls me. It's and he starts telling me all these things, and I'm I cannot take this call, I cannot talk. And he starts explaining to me how you turn off the thingy. And he's there's a button on the side, blah, blah, blah. And I'm I cannot do this. And he's can you meet up with me this morning? And I'm I'm at work. And then I'm I have to hang up, I'm sorry. So I hung up. And then what happened is that, I shouldn't have answered my phone, but there I did, because I thought that it was something important, because, I was at the hospital. I thought that maybe somebody needed me. But anyway, so the electrician apparently is gone for the week and is not coming back until a long time in the future. And she was oh, that's a shame that you didn't contact me earlier about this problem. And that's yeah, you wouldn't have helped me anyway. So, yeah, it's still not fixed, but that's okay. What happened also is that I've started at the medicine clinic, which is also super stressful, and a lot of new things, new people, tons of new people, and they don't care about me, and I have to pretend, and I have to mask, and I have to be all lovely and hardworking and competent and everything, and in order to prove myself so that they don't hate me. And that's not just my own brain saying this, that is so that I can, it's a survival strategy, I have to do this. And because these other people have no obligation to be kind to me, they are just going to be as awful as possible to me, regardless of how I treat them. But I will try to put all my chances on my side so that I can build some kind of rapport, some kind of relationship with them, so that they can have some mercy on me, me against the big machinery that is the hospital. I feel I'm a pawn in the boss doctor's games, and I'm just yeah, I'm going to get crushed by this. And You know, I'm used to my little clinic where like everybody knows everybody, and they know everybody knows everybody at the hospital, but it's a much bigger organization, and also it's so much more hierarchical, you know, like the doctors, the specialist doctors are high up above the junior doctors, and it's like I'm in this in between zone of the residents, but I'm also not like one of their residents. I'm like a resident from the outside coming in, and it's like, yeah, it's hard. Um, and so I talked to the boss there, the doctor who decides on everything in my life at this point, and basically, I was stressed, and I, I tried to be very positive and everything. Thing is, I realized that I can't work 8 to 3 like I did when I was working 80%. Because at the healthcare center I usually worked at was 8 to 3 every day, like 4 days a week, and then the 5th day I would work 8 to 5. And so that would be 80% of 40 hours a week. But I realized I can't do that because I need to either work the same amount of hours every day of the week, or I work full time and then I take a day off. That's the only way to like get it, because every day at 8 I need to be there, and every day at 3 I need to be there. And at 3 they have like, a report together, so everybody needs to be there. So I can't just leave in the middle of that or before that. I need to be there, because also basically all of the work needs to be done before 3, and you can keep on going with the work afterwards, after this meeting. So basically I would have to, if I stopped work at 3, I would need to basically do the same amount of work that the people who work till 5 do, except in shorter time, with 2 hours less time. So I realized that won't work. So I thought, maybe I could finish work at 4, or I can have a day off. So I told this idea to the chief doctor, and he said, yeah, but you need to work, you can work 100% and then you can take certain extra hours off. So you can work until 4 and take out that last hour, or have a whole day off. And for some reason, he really wants me to work 100%, because if I don't work 100%, then he won't, he will prolong the time that I'm there. So I'm supposed to be there 6 months. He will prolong it 7 months, 8 months, So I can't afford that, like it's too long, So he has me under his thumb due to that. And he wants me to work, basically 100%, and then take these hours. And where do these hours come from? These hours aren't free. These hours are basically working evening shifts, night shifts, or working weekends. And I've worked a certain amount of weekends, and so I'll be using those hours. But those hours are it's a small amount of hours. It's 18 hours that I have. So I can use those 18 hours before the end of the month. Then I will be getting more hours, because there's a section of 2 weeks where I'll be working 12 days in a row without any day of pause. Basically I'll be working 1 week, and then a weekend, and then the next week, and then I'll get the weekend off there. So he suggests using those hours to put back into my week so that I can work 90%, 85%, whatever that is. But he wants me to take out those extra hours instead of just going down on time. And so then I told my boss about this idea, and I said, I'm not sure that this is going to work. And then he wrote back to me, he said, are you doing this of your own volition or are you being coerced? And that made me cry because I was like, oh wow, you're making it sound like, like I'm in an abusive relationship or something. I said it's a bit of both, because on one hand I understand that I can't work 80% in the way that I would like to. But at the same time, I don't understand why he didn't agree for me working 85% or 90%, or, I went down in time in some way, and that he's making me do this in this way. I mean, it's good in a way that I'll be getting 100% of the pay, but really, am I? Am I getting 100% of the pay? Because I don't think this is going to last for a long time. But anyway, so I think I will survive September. But it's just it's a lot of stress. It's so much to learn. And then we're also going to be changing computer system, like the journal system, 2 weeks in. So basically I'm learning about how to do everything in the old system now. And then they're going to change everything to another whole other system. So yeah, I'm spending so much energy and time understanding this, and then it's going to be gone. Next week I'm going to be working at another department. I'm at a department now. I'm doing an introduction with this guy who is really pretentious guy, not somebody I can talk to. It's like he has zero sense of humor in his body, and is just, my ESFP colleague, we know this guy, said that he had like a stick up him. And yeah. It's okay, he's good to work with, he's very effective and stuff, but it's like, I can't even just like say something, I can't even say something kind to him and him like acknowledging the compliment. He's just like, and it's not like I need to be loved by everybody, but like, it's hard when you're not getting any kind of like confirmation that that you're doing are okay, or that you're an okay person to be around. Like, I don't know. But he did say he is very good with feedback, and that, like he said, like, maybe work on this thing, or and I appreciate that. So I've had an actual good week, but I don't know how it's going to go when I'm on my own with this, then it's going to be different. And they expect so much out of me. And the thing is, I get panic very easily, especially because I'm used to people who aren't this sick. And now I'm with people who are extremely ill, extremely sick. And it's like, there's this guy, he didn't have a pulse for 3 seconds. For 3 seconds, his heart just stopped. And then it goes on again. And then his heart stops again. And they're like, should we go and give him a pacemaker or not, And I'm like freaking out, like, what, 3 seconds without the pulse? And, he should be in hospital. Well, here we are at the hospital, Ingrid. What are you thinking? I'm used to like, okay, sending people to the specialist, but now here we are at the specialist. So yeah, apparently 3 seconds in a row is fine, but 4 seconds in a row is starting to get not fine. So it ends up that he ended up getting a pacemaker, but yeah, they were like, let's just wait and see, and I don't know. And then there's somebody who had like really high blood pressure, like 171 around over 110, and they're like, oh, okay, good, he has blood pressure. And I'm like freaking out, like, yeah, shouldn't he be having extra treatment or something? And it's like, no, this is just how they all are. So that is a whole new way of thinking. It's also, I realize I don't know anything about anything. And it's like, so there are people with like kidney failure and people with heart failure and people with liver cirrhosis, and these I don't know anything. I've forgotten everything. There's so much to learn, and I don't know. I hope that I learn these things quickly, but I don't think I can, you know. So I will survive the month. Next week I'm at another department. Then the week after that I'm back at my healthcare clinic, because that's when we're going to be changing to the new IT system. And then I'm going to be going to Gothenburg for 3 days, right when they change the system. So that's great. So yeah, if I get 100% pay for going on a trip, I'll take it. Okay, it's my only perk for doing like basically suffering the rest of the month. Then the week after that, I'm going to be having my own patients come to me at the clinic. But it's at the like cardiology patients, like really the patients that should be meeting a specialist, but they're going to be meeting me. So yeah, that's what's going to happen that week. And then I think I'll have a week back at the department, and I don't know if I'm going to be at the emergencies. I think that the emergencies start in October. But so at that point, at the end of September, I'm going to have a new discussion with the chief doctor, and then we'll evaluate. And I told him, like, I'm not sure that this is going to work. And he's like, oh, but you'll get tons of hours of... No, I'm not getting any extra hours in my pot of hours. I'm only getting those hours afterwards in October. There's going to be a week in October, the end of September, beginning of October. Basically, I'm going to be working 12 days in a row without any day free. So yeah, there's that. And then there's also the fact that I'm going to be starting at the emergencies. And so then I'll be accumulating more of those kinds of hours. But at the same time, I'll be more tired. So yeah, that's not great. Also, there's this one guy, he's really lovely, wonderful guy. I love him, but like he wanted to joke with me, like when we met, like on the Tuesday. And he was like, here, you're at the emergencies today. Here are your phones. And he's like, you'll manage. And I didn't find it funny. I didn't find it funny because, like, you know, I was like, I said, no, I said, I don't believe you. I said, what are these phones? I don't believe you. And he was like, yeah, but you'll manage. Here. It's easy. You just replace the phone in there. And I was like, yeah. And it was like he didn't seem to understand that I did not want to joke with him. So great. And then there was also this other incident where I was going to get my keys to the locker, and there was like these two janitors, who were standing off to the side, and I realized that they were waiting for their keys. You know, they were waiting for the receptionist too. And I was standing there, and then it was free. So then I rushed towards the counter, and then they were like, oh, but we were before. And then the receptionist says, yeah, they were before. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you know, like they were standing like off to the side, like they weren't in line. And I felt like they were staring at me like angrily, like I was the worst person ever. And I think that they saw my doctor, you know, I have my doctor badge, and they're like, oh, this is a new doctor who thinks that they own the world, you know. And it's like, yeah, but it's like, I just feel such guilt and such everything is terrible and everybody hates me. And it's like, no, but having so many of those kinds of introductions every day. Like I call somebody and then they're like, oh, I'm busy. And then somebody else who was like, why are you calling me? And there's so many micro transactions that are not positive, so many that are negative. I cannot deal with that, you know? And I try to be positive and sweet and accommodating and be like, oh, I'm so sorry, and apologize for things that I don't know, and so much acting all day. Yeah, I don't know how I'll manage, but here we are. So I can't go and fight against the huge machinery of the thing, but like when my boss said like, are you being coerced? I realized like, yeah, my whole life is being steered by the wills of the higher ups at the medicine clinic. I also won't be able to like do any activities in the evenings due to, you know, I have to work later. And also I won't be having the social workers come by, you know, because they only work until 5. And yeah, there are too many expectations that people have on me, and that there's too much that is, yeah, like I'm supposed to just be able to handle anything, you know, like, and then it's like, I can see already what's going to happen is that I'm going to say like, I'm not going to I'm not managing. Either I say like, oh, yeah, this went better than I thought, and then they're like, see, you know, of course it was, you know, and then they like pat themselves on the back for like making me overwork. Or I say, no, this didn't work out, and then they gaslight me in another way of like, oh, but you're the one who chose to do it this way, you know, because I didn't say like actively like, this is wrong, you can't do this to me, you can't do this, it's, you know, I don't want to do it in this way. And yeah, I've put myself into that situation. Also, I recognize myself in Bufo's description. Bufo was talking about how she got scammed by some plumber / not plumber, a thief scammer guy. And yeah, it's really stressed me out, those kinds of things. It's just like, worst case scenario for me. I've already been scammed by this like telephone company thing like about a year ago. I don't know. I talked about it at the time, but I feel like at that point when the electrician called me because I had talked to my landlord and tried to fix things, by doing that I had actually created a problem for myself. And I don't like that, you know, and then I get stressed out, and then I create myself another problem, you know, because I was having this telephone call while I was talking to the boss at a medicine clinic, and so then I maybe said yes to something that I should have said no, I want to think about it. You know, he tried to coerce me under time pressure because I had to leave for the department. Like it was 9:30 and the rounds start at 9:30. And, you know, I didn't have a phone. I don't have a phone yet to be able to call up to say that I'm late. So he put me into a situation where like I couldn't win. And yeah, it's not great to feel like whatever I do, I will be manipulated into things, and like people are going to say it's my fault for being so gullible or being so accommodating and not saying no. But it's like, I can't say no because there is no other way of doing things according to these people. So it's not like I can actually say no, because if I say no, then it's like, well, then you're not going to become a doctor. You know, it's like I have to. It's the only way, and I hate being stuck in this situation. And people are like, oh, but he was trying to be flexible, trying to create a good situation for you by discussing your hours with you and stuff. It's like, no, this isn't a win-win situation. This is a lose situation for me. You know, he thinks that he's being nice by providing me with this incredible solution, but it's not an incredible solution. It's a very bad solution, actually. You know, is this what he considers autism accommodations? He knows about my autism because I actually thought that it might help me in this fight for my work. But no, it didn't help me at all. He just, yeah. He's like, oh, well, you can, of course, use the hours that you have earned yourself. It's like, yeah, if I wasn't allowed to use those hours, then there would be a problem that should be reported, you know? So no, apparently it's not possible to work part-time at the internal medicine clinic, which is probably illegal in some sense of the word, but I don't know. I haven't had this discussion yet. I think I'm going to join the union with the extra money that I'm getting, because I haven't been in the union, and it's probably stupid of me, but it's because I haven't had any reason to before, and now I think that I'll need him on my side in case, like, worst comes to worst, you know? Because, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be burnt out by the end of September, but I'll probably be burnt out sometime in October at the rate things are going. And, yeah, things are not looking good, and I'm trying, and I can deal with way more than I think I can. But there's a certain point where, you know, I have an autism diagnosis. I need to be able to advocate for that. But I can only do it to a certain point because nobody gets it. And it's hard when I feel like nobody can change anything. And the people who usually are able to impact things, like my boss, they have no say in the matter either. So even though my boss was being kind to me and writing like, are you being coerced? And saying like, you know, you can talk to me if you have need any support. He can't change the situation. So yeah, this is what's going on in my head at the moment. Yeah, I will not be posting that much because basically my free time is going to be used up for that, and then the light is going to go, and then it's winter time, and yeah, it's harder for me to post in the winter. Sometimes I get into a frenzy of like, I need to post. I just have so much to say, but I need to use my free time wisely because I'm not going to have all of it. And I need to have the rest, the healing, all of that stuff. I need to recover from the things I need to do, you know? So yeah, I hope that you guys are doing okay. I know that a lot of people are struggling with their jobs. You know, I'm thinking of Sick, I'm thinking of Schumann, I'm thinking of, you know, the regular people. You know, I think that it's tough, and I think that it's very tough for INFPs, and it's tough for autistic people. It's tough for people who just don't, you know, I don't think that anybody really thrives under capitalism, but I think that some people have more hard time than others. And also, you know, I think that there is, yeah, there are many problems. There are many problems in the work system, whether it's at the hospital or other places. Anyway, so Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Bye.